A lot of organizations, right? Maybe for the audience, you can give us insight at a high level, on your background.
Sure.
And what drives your technology passion.
Well, 30 years in IT, across multiple continents, consulting, architecting solutions around master data management and customer relationship management, as well as several IPOs I've gone out with, and Salesforce automation and those types of things back in the day. Right now, my passion is around how I help people. And with that, how we help people in the healthcare space relative to the different types of processing points that we have. And it's a really interesting time, I think, from a data management perspective.
Right. So Rick, you've been part of organizations like LA Care, Costco, Kaiser, and so many other places where you have driven this massive transformational initiatives. And one of the things that we were just talking this morning was this initiative around the data challenges you were facing around the accuracy of data and the timeliness of data being delivered to the right constituents at the right time. Can you talk about how you went about those challenges and what were the outcomes for that?
Sure. In healthcare, we have a lot of regulatory compliance needs, and some of the challenges that were out there in our team was to be able to ensure that we had provider directory information that was accurate and complete. Industry is about 60% on confidence for a provider record, which isn't really pretty good, So that means when you go out and you look at your healthcare site and you see a provider in your area, chances are you may not have the right information relative to the practice type that's being done there, or the address itself, or even the suite it's at. So these are all part of, I think, if you think of it, a security issue too. Data quality is security also. And so addressing, having the wrong name at the address, being able to identify somebody, that's part of it too.
So when I think about a lot of these applications and initiatives and the complexity that's involved in initiatives like that, I wanted to get your perspective on how did you tackle the technology challenge, because there are so many capabilities that you would need to deliver on such initiatives, and how did connectivity and APIs play an integral role in delivering some of them?
Great question. So when we look at data, I'm going to come from a data perspective, right? Today we have many options on the data, and we also have a lot of legacy options on the data relative to iSeries and all the different things that are out there. The key is to be able to ingest that information as quick as possible and get to a point of schema on read. In other words, we have so much data now with all the things that have been occurring relative to transformation from one space, from on-prem to digital to cloud. We have a lot of applications that have been collecting data in different disparate sources. Think about the different database technologies we have today.
Right.
We have distributed ledger technologies. We have NoSQL. We have SQL. We also have Graph. We also have a plethora of other ones that are coming out. How do we manage all these disparate ways of managing the data? Well, I can think of one way is by having a nimble service being able to support different billing systems coming together, different types of patient care needs coming together through these API gateways that we have in Mulesoft.
So, one of the common themes that I've seen and hear in a lot of these conferences, as well as talking to IT leadership across our customer base, is this whole notion of digital transformation, right? And people are trying to dwell around, hey, if you're going down the transformation route, what should be the organizational culture that kind of supports a huge transformation within an organization where they think differently, right? So when you think about transformation, and you've gone through many in your career, right? And so where do you start as an organization, and what drives that cultural shift?
Yeah, it all starts from the top. And I think we all know that we need the resolve of our executive leadership to be able to pull together and make the policies that you do transform the organization. Without that, you're going to either sit under the operations lead, which probably has a different mindset relative to expense instead of investment and trying to get to these types of transformations. And then maybe they don't have a clear understanding of what these transformations are. If we think about digital transformation in a sense, Digital transformation isn't something like we traditionally do in IT. It's not this big monolithic application like SAP that goes out there or any other application in Oracle Suite. It's more like the capabilities that all of a sudden show up. All of a sudden you have the ability to look at a provider on your phone, to credential a provider, to do a facility site review out on a tablet and be stateless in your processing of that. All of these different things just start to adapt into the environment. And what's better to look at but Google itself? I mean, if you see Google, you type into Google, you get suggestions around things, right? Well, if we think about digital transformation more as a utility that you can have and grab as you need based on your whole functional environment, then it's right there in front of you. You don't have to wait for IT.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just came back from Vegas on a different conference, and I was talking to some of the other leaders in financial industry, and one concept that they were talking about is, businesses are thriving to be part of a customer journey, and transformation is pretty much imperative for them to be part of it. And digital transformation, as you pointed out, is clearly a initiative where the entire organization got to start from the top and get behind. So in your recent initiative, how did you go about building that culture of change and the operating model change, and how did technology drive some of that?
In some sense, we have to kind of separate ourselves from the old culture. And part of our success was being able to have our platform separate and being able to work within the bounds of the technology we're trying to transform to. In doing so, of course, that means we have to also look at the adoption of that into the ecosystem that exists currently. And so you can do it several ways, right? One way is to be able to build the capabilities on your new digital stack and bring the business in for each capability that's built out. One of the things we did is tackle public domain information, and we also tackled the most complex piece, just to see how it would work out in provider information. And provider data, like I said, 60%, we wanted to get it to 95%. So how are we going to get that? We couldn't do it by traditional means of going into the current IT stack and pulling that data in. We had to go out to the source. Data quality happens at the source. And where's the source? It's the IPAs, it's the medical groups, and it's the doctors themselves, and the vendors and the ancillaries to support that. So we went right to them with an outreach team. And so it's a combination of business and technology that came together that was able to pull that data in quickly into a data lake. And then from that data lake, we were able to operate on it, to look at it and say, oh, did we have some extrinsic values that were wrong? Yeah, we did. We went out and built 7 checks against MPI and different types of data types that we have state license for the doctors. So we automated that part. But does that make it right? No. We have to go through the business process of credentialing and making sure that's right. So we had a credentialing business team with us. We had the facility site review team with us. And we also had a core IT team that we pulled together. And in this whole process of bringing in the data, we found that we could, in certain ways, beat out ETL processing 10-to-1 on savings and cost. We were finding that we could also, the amazing thing is the initiative is in 2.5 months, we were able to sign our contract with Mulesoft and go live with a complete framework that was processing the data right through the whole framework ecosystem. And so we're very much in this is a platform, provider platform framework that's used as kind of an Uber. So sooner or later, as we get more value inside, let's say, workflow management on the add, change, and terminate for a provider, then all of a sudden now we're kind of being able to maybe look at 85% of the records at 95% quality that just flowing through our organization and let it go, right? And then take that other 15%, which took up, almost 90% of the manual work, and look at how we reduce those types of things too, all through automation.
That makes so much sense. But I think one thing that I think a lot of us want to really hear is tying back to Mark's theme around security, right? Especially around healthcare, data privacy and security are like such important aspects. And now you think about you're moving all that information into this data lake, you're unlocking them through APIs and composing them and reusing them. But then how do you drive the security rationalization across all of those platforms, right? So what are your thoughts on security, and how did you go about tackling that aspect?
Well, having coming from Costco and actually doing the API for the credit card swipes at the warehouse, I had a little bit of knowledge prior to coming over to my next gig. So what we want to really look at is clear text exposure. At a fraction of a moment that any data is exposed is a breach. And sometimes we don't know what sits inside our environments relative to any kind of security problems. There could be many things that are running that we don't understand. That could be a problem. And so that moment of clear text exposure is the thing we have to look at. Now, let's think about the data lake. Let's think about a master data management system coupled together along with a set of applications that sit on the cloud. We need to ensure that that integration point is secured and that as a pivot point, it acts as a security platform for us. And in several ways we can do this. We can do this based on processing member assignment to provider in a microservice. So I don't have to create this monolithic application anymore.
Right.
I just do it on the fly based on geospatial coordinates or actual address needs, right? So we find that the APIs are becoming more robust in its ability to look at not only processing but security and looking at tokenization. And not having to go through it. I know in some environments you might have to go through where you're opening the token up, changing it from Kerberos to LDAP or SAML. In some cases they have multi-platform environments. What tool do you think can go hybrid across multiple environments that would not have to do that?
Right.
It's Mulesoft, right? This is the power of the API that sits out there that we can use. And so with that kind of security understanding, now we eliminate all this clear text exposure, any changes that occur relative to the protocol.
So that makes sense, Rick. But I think, from a security standpoint, a lot of times, and there are a lot of developers, architects, I've been in that space where we build applications. I think security is always an ancillary afterthought, right? So when you think about these large digital transformation initiatives, if you were to advise some of the IT leaders here around security, what would be your advice?
Number one, get your threat model done. First of all, look at your threat model based on your architecture. Bring somebody in, after you finish designing, bring somebody in to look at the threat and create an actual threat model document. After that, don't forget about penetration testing. Let's get penetration testing in as part of actual scalability and performance testing. It should come after that. And ensure that when you do your penetration testing, that it is robust enough to isolate any threats that would come from outside of your architecture. In other words, you have other people architecting solutions around your corporation, across the enterprise. You still don't want to have that in case they forgot something. Not that they're trying to, create a breach, for instance, but you've got your architecture pen tested and the threat model is clear, and then you ensure that the security officer and InfoSec has all that.
That's awesome. Rick, I really appreciate you, taking the time from your busy schedule and spending it with us. And for the audience, Rick is going to be here, and if you have questions, you can always reach out to him at the break. So thank you for.